here's what happened. New month has started. You want to make a change, and you could be focusing on either one habit or a couple of habits that are coming up for you right now. And I think about it for me with a new month. I have this habit of wanting to have fun and have a workout where I sweat. So for me, I have this habit of getting outside, and it's like I call it spaghetti movement. I'm just like jumping all over the place, being a kid again, jumping on stuff outside. If that's like a retaining wall that's nearby, a really small one, or just like hopping on these steps, but just a way to have more fun. Because as I'm working on the business, there are a lot of moments where it can get really tense and stressful, and that can build where it needs ways for my body to release that stress out. And I've noticed that adding more fun in other areas can help me during the really challenging moments working on the business, working on this business in order for it to grow. And that could be something you're experiencing right now is you want to have more fun, feel more energized, figure out what habits are going to be able to support you and your capacity for your body to be able to handle the growth or the challenges right now as you're working on your business. I think about my life partner, Adriana. She's doing a 12K step challenge for her community to get ready for summer out in Europe. So whatever your reason is for coming in here to want to make a change, I want to share with you 3 body-based habit phases that you can remember for the habit formation process to make it so that you understand how to navigate each one of these habits. I think it's a great time to bring this back and navigate them, and then continue to be able to move forward and show up and put the reps in. This is Make Burnout Extinct. I'm Robert David Weeks. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. And if you haven't done it yet, you can subscribe and follow the show for the latest episodes. Thank you for being here. I get really excited with this commitment I've made through this show of telling you or sharing with you what it really takes to make burnout extinct. Based off of my own experience of hitting burnout back in 2018 after the social media conference I founded where 500 people came together. That also comes to understanding what the hell is burnout. So how I define it is a major life transition that's forced on you by your body. A way you can think about that in the business setting for yourself for context is having to close down or let go of your business because you don't have the capacity within your body to handle either the growth that's happening or the challenges that are happening. Both of those are making you feel stressed. And then over time, that can lead to chronic stress, where that can then take you towards the first generic red flag of burnout, chronic exhaustion. And I think about this chronic stress. I don't believe that you're in battle with your body. It can feel like that, but how I think about it is you're in this battle with the burnout beast, or the burnout beast is right now its weapon of choice for your body is the body enemy number 1, chronic stress. And so that's how you can feel into it with this chronic stress that you're experiencing. But what I want to tell you is it absolutely is possible for you to make burnout extinct. Simplest way I can explain that is to feel more energized than drained in your life. And I got to do a whole nother conversation with you for what I mean for make burnout extinct. But ultimately, it's realizing that your life is interconnected. And it's remembering that business is just one part of your life. So let's get into it for today. The 3 body-based phases, I'm excited to get into that. But even before, it's addressing the problem that can be coming up, which is wanting to follow through on the change. You may have tried habits in the past and have gotten stuck in this loop where let's take working out, for example. Like for me, my spaghetti movement, going outside and wanting to create movement. You may have put in those reps for a few days, got really excited. Like I know I did. First few days, got really excited, something new. So there's variety there in my life. Then I'm really excited to want to continue to show up. But then there comes that point where you notice it's like this gnawing feeling of not wanting to show up. Like that happens. You're not alone in experiencing that. And then you can get off track. Life happens. You got other responsibilities, especially if you got family, to partner, friends, just anything else that comes up. I'm trying to think of like community events, but you have ways that you can create excuses for yourself to not show up and put in the reps for the habit that you started. And then a few months go by and you're like, man, like I really got to get back into being consistent with my workouts. And then you figure out another way to continue to show up and put the reps in for that habit. But then you just get stuck in this loop. And that could be years that you've been stuck in this, or even decades. And what I want to tell you is you can absolutely break this loop. It is possible. And I think these 3 body-based phases have not only been, I know from my own personal experience, they have made such a powerful impact in being able to show up and follow through on the changes that I wanted to make, not only working on my business, but then for my life overall. And so for you, it's remembering this really important principle that I come back to whenever I'm feeling like, shit, like I got to show up, put the reps in. There's a principle that helps me to remember what we all have within us. And that is immense potential, limitless potential as I think about it. But this principle, it's a principle of immense potential, which states that we have more potential within us than we could ever develop in our lifetime. And so true fulfillment comes from being on that path of developing that potential. The progress, the growth, and appreciating making not only the progress, but just the ability to be able to move forward. So here are the 3 body-based phases. You have the awkward phase, the angry phase, the autopilot phase. I'm going to get into each one of those and go deeper into each one of those. But before, I want to go through the truth anchor technique with you. If you've experienced it before, you know the drill. If you haven't, this is to help for you to feel what resonates for you. Because I come back to, there is no one right way to make burnout extinct, but there is a right way for you. Yes, it's about feeling more energized than drained in your life for the majority of the time, but there are different ways you can feel energized. And so with the truth anchor, what it is repeating your name 3 times and noticing where you feel the vibration of your voice, because that's a truthful statement. And then after that, you're going to repeat a made up name 3 times and notice where you feel the vibration of your voice, because that is a name that doesn't resonate for you. And so whenever you're dealing with strategies or habits or anything that I share with you, come at it from filtering what resonates for you. Because what's worked for me may not work for you, and what's worked for someone else may not work for you. And what's worked for you may not work for someone else. So if you like, you can do this. Honestly, you could do this in whatever situation you're in right now. You can put a hand on her. I want to put a caveat. Just make sure you're in a place where you're going to be able to do this. You can do this while you're moving. You don't have to be sitting down or laying down while you're doing this. That's what I want to get my point across with that. So I'll put my hand on my stomach. I put my hand also on my chest, and then I'll repeat my name by saying my name is, and then I'll say it. So here we go. My name is Robert David. My name is Robert David. My name is Robert David. And where I notice that is in my chest for the vibration. And that is a signal from your body. One of the most important skills you can master as an entrepreneur is communication with your body. Noticing what these body signals are trying to communicate to you, and then making adapting on a habit level, and then even deeper than that on belief system level. All right. You may have to do this a few times if this is your first time and you haven't been able to feel where that vibration is, because it does take repetition to connect with it. But now what you can do is, let's bring our awareness on down to the toes, wiggle the toes, bring your awareness on up to your legs, calves, thighs, stomach, chest. Raise your arms up if you can. I'm yawning. And then swipe left like a day nap. Getting the energy out of there. Whew, there you go. All right, shake it out. And then going to come on back to repeating now a made-up name. I'm going to use Fred. So again, I'm going to put one hand on my stomach, one hand on my chest. Here we go. My name is Fred. My name is Fred. My name is Fred. Where I notice that is up in my head, like right in my throat, even right above my throat. And that's where I'll notice the vibration. But you may have to repeat this a few times for yourself. It could be out of the body even. That's happened to me before, where I've felt it like behind my head. But by feeling what these body signals represent for you, like how you feel that in the location of the body, that is a great reminder for when someone comes at you with the strategy or a habit. You can notice, oh, I feel that in my chest. Okay, that must resonate. Let me go into that and explore what that's all about, because there can be a lot of wasted energy, wasted time, and money on just strategies and habits that don't resonate for you without you even realizing it. Just because someone's like, oh, this is like changed my life or worked really well for me, it may not work for you. So you got to filter it for figuring out what resonates, because there's so much information that's out there. You know this, so much that we can get just overwhelmed by that. And then now you don't even start. And so by you being here, this is a step for you starting to make that change. And especially if you've already been putting in the reps with these habits, then it's remembering that you've showed up. You've done something that a lot of people don't do, is like showing up and putting in those reps and making progress. Okay, so let's wiggle our toes again, wiggle them down, bring the awareness on up to the calves, thighs, stomach, chest, raise arms up if you can, yawn, and then swipe left. Whew. There you go. And that yawning helps to close it out and then reset for energy. And what I want to share with you now are questions to reflect on. These questions are very important to help connect you back to the habit or the habits that you want to bring into your life and make changes to your life, or that these habits support for the changes in your life. So the first one, what is the new habit or habits? So actually identifying them and getting specific is important. And specific doesn't have to be like, hey, I'm going to do 10 push-ups today. I tried to get consistent in that way, and it felt too much of being in a box. And so that's where this habit of having, for me, it's have fun and sweat in my workout today. There's a lot of opportunity for what that could look like or what that could feel like. And that really helps me. I can pinball all over the place with a bunch of different ideas. You might be able to relate to that as you're working on your business. Bunch of different ideas coming your way. And this has been really helpful to expand the container and be able to play within that. That's where I have more fun. It's more enjoyable. And then I think, again, life, one of the really important things to remember about life is it's meant to be enjoyed. That's that's my belief for life. And then remembering that business is just one part of my life. But also, I really believe in the hard work, putting in the effort. And that is absolutely important to be able to make a change. It does come with a lot of effort. So now wiggle the toes, bring the awareness on down to the toes, wiggle them, bring awareness up to the calves, thighs, stomach, chest, raise arms up if you can. Woo. Let's swipe left. Whew. Dating up. Get that out of here. All right, next question. What belief do you have about this habit? You can write this one down, because it's important to have clarity as to what is the belief that drives this habit. Because if you have a habit of wanting to get outside and create movement of the walk, going for a long walk, run, just having fun, jumping around on stuff outside, like I'm doing. If you have this belief that you can't be consistent with a habit like that, then the result of what you're going to notice is after a few days, you're going to experience that gnawing feeling, and it's going to be a very intense gnawing feeling, where then you get off track and then you get stuck in that pattern, because the world has patterns. You got the sunrise, sunset. You're no different for your body. And so you have these patterns. And the belief, we have certain beliefs that are in the driver's seat of our life. And this belief that is driving this habit, it's important to remember, is it an empowering belief, or is it a belief that drains me, doesn't serve me? And so it's recognizing what that is right now. And then if it's one that you feel is holding you back, it's asking yourself, what can be an empowering belief? Just saying something as simply as it's possible for me to be consistent with this habit of movement, that's enough. Where the hard work comes in is putting in the reps. You're still going to have the gnawing feeling, but it won't be as intense either. Or it may be. It just depends. It's got like each person is different through this experience, and it's just recognizing what is your patterns, because the more you understand, less fear grows. And that connects back to the body. So let's wiggle the toes if you can. Bring your awareness up the calves, thighs, stomach, chest. Raise your arms up if you can, and then swipe left. Let's get that energy out. All right, next one. Moving along. What is the expected benefit of the habit? What does this habit support you in for your life? With movement, I think about getting outside for my habit of the spaghetti movement. Well, that helps to bring more fun into my life. That's a benefit. It helps me to feel more energized. Movement literally produces energy for the body. So then I can channel that energy into other aspects of my life. One could be working on the business. The other one is it can help me, I notice, to have better decision making for better strategies that I come up with, or better ideas as I'm working on different projects in the business. But make a note of that. And then you can write it on out for yourself. All right, I'm going to keep moving. Let's wiggle the toes. Bring your awareness up calves, thighs, stomach, chest. Raise arms up, and then swipe left. All right. Next one is, what do you enjoy about the habit? What about the habit itself is enjoyable for you? Like, it's, for me, fun to just jump on a bunch of stuff outside. Like, have no structure there. Right now, that is resonating for me. I enjoy it. Because if you can have more habits that are enjoyable, that can spread out to other areas of your life. If I don't like to walk, maybe I try running instead. Or vice versa. Or if I don't like to do push-ups, is there another exercise I can do for my chest? Bench press. Like, there are so many options that are out there to try out. And I really believe in the more you can enjoy the actual habit itself, the more repetitions you're going to put in over the long term. And you may enjoy the challenge, right? You may not like to go into a cold plunge. You may not like to go for a run, but you actually enjoy the feeling of not liking it. I know that could sound weird if you don't get what I'm talking about, but I know some of you do, where you actually enjoy the challenge, and that's enough. Awesome. But not everyone's like that. So now let's wiggle our toes, bring the awareness up, calves, thighs, stomach, chest, raise arms up, and then swipe. Get out. 2 more questions before we get into each one of those phases. Next one is, how do you feel after putting the rep in for the habit? Do you feel energized? Do you feel open? Do you feel lighter? Like, do you feel relief? Or do you feel constricted? Does it feel, not fun, dull, annoying to do? You're not satisfied in putting in the rep. That helps to determine if this is a habit that you want to continue to put the reps in and stick with. And it doesn't mean not every time you may feel amazing and extraordinary, but it's making sure you're at least feeling a subtle feeling of being more energized. Or if anything, just a little bit above neutral is how you think about it for energized. That can be the sign to keep or the signal from the body to keep putting the reps in. But if not, and you're noticing that over a long period of time, then mix it up, try a different habit that still is giving you the similar benefits. All right, let's bring our awareness on down to the toes. Wiggle the toes, calves, raise it up to the thighs, stomach, chest. You can raise your arms up if you can, and then swipe left. Let's get that out. Okay. This is the last one for this question, or for these questions. How can you naturally add this habit into your schedule? Thinking back to what are ways where you can create, you don't have to have, you can have less effort to show up and put the rep in for the habit. This could be based off of time, starting off with less time for a habit, keeping it small and then building from there. Or it could be, let's say, going out for a walk as a habit. You could do that with your partner if you have a partner and have that time to connect. And then it becomes a connection point. And so then you have accountability and you're not thinking about it so much with part of your schedule, especially if you've had already moments where you connect. This is another way to add variety for your connection points at the end of the night. But give yourself this space and time to reflect on that and write that out if you can. All right, now let's wiggle the toes. Bring the awareness up to the calves, thighs, stomach, chest, raise arms up. All right, let's swipe left. Let's get that out. Okay, let me break it on down for these 3 phases so you have them. The awkward, angry autopilot. It's remembering at the beginning, and we've gone through some of these with these questions. You can connect your answers to these questions, or some of your answers to these questions, to the 3 phases. So for the awkward phase, it's gonna feel awkward at the beginning, but you're showing up. And it's remembering where you start isn't going to be where you end up. It's awkward to figure out where you're going to add this into your schedule. It may change a few other aspects of your schedule. It may change how you show up each day, and that could be awkward. And so it's remembering that whatever phase you're in, it's temporary as long as you continue to move forward and you don't stop. And so that's the first phase, is the awkward. Then you get to the angry phase. And this is remembering the pendulum swing. Your nervous system wants to keep you in a balance. And so you may start putting the reps in for a new habit, and that creates momentum. But then nervous system can be like, oh, whoa, okay, we're going in this direction. We got to swing on back to add in that to bring yourself back into balance. And it can be based off of these beliefs. And so if you have a belief of not being consistent with a habit and you start to be consistent with that habit, then the nervous system will be like, wait, this isn't familiar. So let's bring you back. And that's where you can get off track. And that's why beliefs are really important, to make sure you have an empowering belief there. But it's remembering naturally that you're going to have moments of this gnawing feeling coming up, this intense resistance that can happen to want to show up and put the reps in. It's remembering this is natural is so important, and that this is temporary, and that you can show up and move through that resistance. And by just recognizing that this is natural and it's part of a pattern, it becomes a lot easier to show up. Doesn't mean it's not going to still be hard in certain situations, but it just becomes a lot easier. It doesn't become so overwhelming. It goes back to the more you understand, less fear grows. And it could be anger. You'd be like, man, I got to show up and go for this walk. It could be this like sloth mode is what I call it, where you're just like, I don't really want to go out there, and I just want to hang out, on the couch, or continue to do this, the work I'm doing right now. I don't want to have to interrupt that and go out for this walk. That happens, but it doesn't have to be an excuse for you. And yes, you're going to have the off days. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Off days will happen. And so it's actually being strategic with those and noticing where the resistance is most intense. That could be a great time to have a rest day or an off day. Or it could be, it depends on you, and you got to check in with yourself. It could be actually a really powerful day to show up and put the reps in, because then you are able to show yourself that you can do this, and that can build, that can help your confidence to grow even more. It's like, oh man, I just did that even though I didn't really feel like it. Fuck yeah. So it depends on you. You got to continue to go back to communicating with your body for that skill set. You got to listen to your body. And then also listen to what is going to be have the most impact for me to stay consistent and moving forward for the long term. Then we get into this last phase, the autopilot phase, where you show up with little conscious effort. Or you think about it, it's not as painful to show up. And so that's where the goal is to move your habits into that autopilot phase. But then it's remembering that this process has to repeat a few times with new habits. You're gonna have to go back through the awkward phase, the angry phase, the autopilot phase. One, because life happens and you're gonna deal with different challenges that come up. But then you may add in more new habits. That helps with variety, helps with continuing to grow, not keeping things boring for yourself. And that can continue that momentum of having fun, excitement, all those different uh, signals that can come up from the body. And so it's giving you that space now to be able to either integrate a new belief, going back to what belief do you have about this habit, and to give you that space to integrate these habits and figuring out how you're going to add these into your schedule to get started. But it's remembering that whatever phase you're in currently, it's temporary. And that's an ongoing process to continue to show up, to put those reps in. And when you get off track, recognizing what's going on, but then not making an excuse and then getting back on track. And I want to let you know, if you haven't heard it yet today, I believe in you. You have the capabilities to be able to master this skill of communication with your body, to listen to the signals and then adapt on a habit level and deepen that on a belief system level. You got this.